Hi, this is Sean from Time and Talk. Today I wanted to make a quick video about the Explorer. I've been thinking about the Explorer a little bit recently, partially because I've been on holiday and I've been, admiring other people's watches and things like that. And it just got me thinking like how awesome the Explorer is kind of for every situation. But that's not the purpose of this video today. The purpose of this video is to go through some of the differences between the Mark 1 and the Mark 2 214270. As you may or may not know, this is a Mark 1 214270, and later on Rolex updated it slightly to release what's now known as the Mark 2 Explorer. This gets a little bit of an unfair rep, I think, but if you're in the market for one of these things, you probably just want to know the difference between the two watches. So I'm just going to go through it. So, just a quick look around it. It's a bit beat up, mine actually. I take it on holiday, but I swim with it. I pretty much use it in any occasion, wear it to the gym, etc. So it's got quite a lot of scratches and things like that, as you might expect from a watch that I essentially wear every day. But so what I'm going to do is I'm just going to take you through the differences between this and the Mark II. As you may or may not know, the Explorer was originally released in 1953. It has always been 36mm until in 2010 Rolex released the 214270 Mark 1, which is this model. In 2016 they subsequently updated it to the Mark 2, and we're going to differentiate between those two watches. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to put a picture here so we can compare them side by side and look at the dials. So I bought this in 2016. And it was already an outgoing model. Actually, it had already been announced at Baselworld that year that it was no longer a current model and the Mark II was coming out. That hadn't started to be stocked yet at the AD. I tried to get a cheeky discount, but I couldn't. And you might think that I made the wrong decision or that I regret it or whatever, but we won't really discuss that. We're not discussing the merits of these two watches as much as just the differences between them. So, first of all, in terms of the similarities, they both have the exact same movement. So the 3132 with the Parachrome hairspring and the Paraflex shock absorber, and the 48-hour power reserve, which beats at 28,800 vibrations per hour. So they have the exact same movement. They have the exact same bracelet, which is an improvement upon the former iteration. Really solid clasp with the Easy Link extension. If you see on this side of the clasp, you've got like a 5mm grace, so you can make it slightly bigger and slightly smaller, hot weather and cold weather and things like that. The exact same case, everything essentially is the same about this watch, apart from a few small changes which people really got a little bit annoyed about and excited about. And so the first of those changes are, if you see here, the 3, the 6 and the 9 are solid white gold. So in the Mark 1 they were solid white gold, and they do not glow in the dark, they do not have any lume on them. And to be honest with you, that can be slightly annoying, because when it's dark you might have a little bit more trouble with the new iteration telling what time it is. It's not actually that untrue to the history of the Explorer, because the previous iterations also weren't loomed, the 3, 6 and 9. Not since the 1016 had they been loomed, but people got a little bit upset over that. Also, some people say that it's a little bit illegible in the light, because the way they play with the light means they sometimes look like they've disappeared, if that makes sense. The other major difference is the handset. So what people claimed that Rolex did was just use the old handset from the 36mm Explorers that they had left over. And if you see this, let's see if I can get it to focus. The hour hand in particular doesn't quite reach the track on the outside. So this is also known as the shorthand Explorer. The new Mark II version, released in 2016, had slightly longer hands which reached the track around the edges, and slightly fatter, so it kind of looks a little bit more sporty. It never really bothered me. What bothered me was people talking about it, which kind of vicariously made it bother me, but it doesn't affect the time telling or anything like that about the watch. And to be honest with you, that's pretty much it. The only major differences apart from that are, first of all, you probably find that this watch is slightly cheaper to buy on the second-hand market. In US dollars, I think you can get it for £1,000 cheaper. In the UK, I'm finding that they're still selling above retail. Last one I saw for sale, the cheapest one I saw for sale was about $5,000, which is retail price. But obviously it was a second-hand version of a supposedly less desirable model, because we still can't get these in ADs. Another thing that people speculate is that perhaps in a few years these might become collectible. They were quote unquote a mistake by Rolex. You know, the unloomed dial and the short hands. Therefore, Rolex collectors are going to get really excited by this in a few years' time and want one, just as they did with things like what reference is it? The Explorer to the 16550, I think it is, where the paint went a little bit off and turned a yellow colour. They're trading at ridiculous prices at the moment. People think that might happen with this watch too. That remains to be seen, to be honest. Some people like it, some people dislike it. In terms of if you're in the market for one, what people tend to say, and I tend to agree, is that the Mark II version looks a little bit sportier with the loomed 3, 6 and 9, which are kind of fatter, and the bigger and more, well, fatter again hands, which just make it look a little bit more sporty, whereas this version could be considered to be a little bit dressier. I think the hands look a little bit more elegant, being smaller, and obviously the white gold, the precious metal, maybe a little bit dressier. I was doing some research for this video today, and really interestingly, and a little bit scarily actually for an owner of a Mark I, there are rumours that Rolex at service will remove the dial and the hands and replace them with Mark II versions. I can't imagine that happening, though. If you've heard anything about Rolex services, they often, take out priceless dials and replace them with luminova dials, completely ruining the value of the watch. So it wouldn't surprise me. What has been confirmed though is that some guy on a forum actually requested that they would do that to his watch, taking out the dial with the white gold and the hands and replacing them with the newer at a cost of about £800, I think he said. Not something that I'd want doing, but each to their own, I guess. So just a bit of a quick video really to give you some information about these two watches if you're thinking about buying one. Thanks for watching. If you like my channel, please subscribe. Thanks very much. Bye bye.